Hello everyone, Freddy here. As some of you might have noticed, one of the only quote-unquote series on this channel is called Let's Make, where I make missions on camera and explain how they work. These missions are here to help you understand how to use all the information that you can find in many tutorials, and also how these smaller segments can work together to form a full mission. However, as we all know, making a fully developed mission can take a lot of time. Even if the mission is simple in concept and rather easy to make, it still takes a good chunk of time to get everything working. Plus, I often have to explain all my steps and decisions. So the resulting videos are pretty long, usually keeping at around 1 full hour just to blaze through all the important steps of the mission. And because not many people have an hour of free time to watch a video just to see if the mission is something they might be interested in, I've decided to make this short recap video for all previously created missions. Number 1. Steal documents. The mission's main tasks are to enter an enemy-controlled base, find valuable documents, steal them and get away before reinforcements arrive. The mission focuses on basic aspects of nearly every mission. Short cutscenes, trigger work, tasks, some basic objectives and how to handle them in the editor. The mission is an all-around practice of basic but helpful methods of creating a solid mission of any type. The mission also combines scripts and triggers, basic waypoint and trigger connections, and should introduce you to very basic scripting and handling different mission events, such as completing a task or entering a specific area. First video, it was a big test to see if the format is suitable or not, so it's long and not very action-packed, but the mission may be worth checking, especially if you aren't quite sure how to put commands together or want to see how the individual pieces of information from tutorials can form a final result. The mission should give you a decent idea about tying scripts to the mission and the difference between timed and event-based actions. Number 2. Sniper mission. Short and sweet, this mission simply gives you an objective to move over a hill, assassinate a high-ranked officer and leave the area, a pretty standard mission design. This one is fairly simple, using just generic building blocks of a mission, a simple short script or two, basic trigger work, some tasks, briefing, 2 endings. Overall, a pretty standard mission for people who know the basic features of the editor and are looking for something a little bit more interesting but still pretty simple for one afternoon style of mission. The video is still pretty long and not very captivating, but it does describe pretty much every single step in creating the mission, so maybe it could be a good background noise for when you are examining the mission itself. Number 3. Stealing a car. Another one of the more classic mission designs, get into any area and escape in a vehicle, but the same principle applies to any mission type of infiltrating an area and then going back. The main focus of the whole mission is to showcase how a bit of randomness can create the replayability and tension of a mission, as the car always spawns on a different place. It also contains the usual mix of several other tutorials from before. Number 4. Hostage rescue. I had a try at a very common mission design, but gave the mission a little spin in a different direction by adding a timer, some primitive alarm mechanism, and spent a lot of time playing with the animate patrols and their behavior. The mission is very bare bones though, and while all the mechanics work just fine, the mission lacks a few of the finer details added in the previous ones. Good for some basic unit setup and setting up a small camp or base, then you can create just about any mission type around that concept. Again, a mission that is very light on scripts and more suited for less advanced mission designers. Number 5. Ambush. A very short mission, mostly based on a question that I got back then, related to making a helicopter transport soldiers, throw them out at a designed place and then leave. The rest of the mission is honestly just a filler to give it some sense, and I'm going to be honest with you, this mission isn't good at all. Aside from the mentioned helicopter, you can find usually here a few triggers, a script here and there, some tasks, a short quick mix of several tutorials, but if you compare the mission with all the previous ones, you can see that there is a certain pattern that you can just repeat in every mission, so some waypoints, placing patrols, debriefing, all of that has been done before. Number 6. Training shooting range. I wanted to come up with something else than the most classic shooting range that has been done a million times over and consists mostly of just placing static objects on the map, then placing static targets and a few guns, and that's it. The mission includes shooting at a target in semi-virtual reality, created entirely by scripts. The mission should provide you with some more interesting scripts and also show you that illusions and tricks are a common practice, at least for things that would be otherwise very challenging to implement. The mission uses a lot of different commands, goes over a few in-game functions and shows a short cutscene followed by a fully scripted scene. This video also has a part 2, mostly for those who are interested in more complex but also better looking mission of the same type. The advanced version of the mission has more effects, more attention to detail and more interesting code. Number 7. Custom AI vision script for stealth missions. This mission revolves entirely around a script that is trying to simulate reduced AI vision, much like in some FPS or stealth games where an enemy can see only a small area in front of him, often represented by a cone, and isn't disturbed by anything else. The script that I have made uses a very similar idea and could potentially be used for some stealth parts of a mission. The mission is heavily focused on scripting and it will probably interest those of you who have some previous experience with them, as some of the explained bits require a basic understanding of how scripts work. Still, it's a nice little mission that can be improved and expanded in a million different ways, so I think that if you are interested in this mission type and you don't mind reading other people's code, maybe you'll wanna check it out. Number 8. Avoiding cars minigame. This is a fun little idea that I got at school one day and decided to create in Arma. The mission is a simple minigame where you control an ever-accelerating car through a mass of other vehicles, with the only goal of avoiding them and reaching the finish. The main focus of the mission is on scripting, where you have to define the movement, collisions, player controls, score, but it's still a fun experience. I don't think that many people will want to recreate or work on this mission, but maybe it's interesting and novel enough for some of you to have a short look at the scripts, and those could inspire you to write something of your own that you would actually use. Number 9. Five Nights at Freddy's in Arma. The mission is a bit unfinished, but all the important mechanics work. I mainly wanted to show you that scripts can pretty easily transform a mission into whatever the designer wants. Custom cameras, scripted player controls, dialogues, some very basic mechanics for the movement of animatronics, and a mission in virtual reality showing that everything works, but nothing looks like a scary mission. Originally I wanted to get some models, sounds and environment, but didn't get to that part, so this mission feels very work in progress. Still, you could take some inspiration from the work that is already finished. I feel like the mission has some potential, but needs more time and maybe someone who knows what they are doing. Number 10. Car Paint Shop. The latest mission heavily focused on dialogue and script interaction. Almost everything about this mission is hidden in scripts. Also, it isn't really a full mission, but I felt like a car shop could be added pretty much anywhere, so why limit the creation into a set scenario? Most of the work is done around dialogues and the related script, which handles a couple of calculations and variable creating/updating. An interesting mission, loosely based on actual real-life information and worth checking out, even if it's just for trying out that one color on your car that you have always wanted to see. The video is significantly reduced, only mentioning the basics, with the basic theory of the mission being explained in a text-based documentation and script comments. And there you go, this is the season 1 of Let's Make series, as I've decided to call this collection of missions. There should be links to the video somewhere on the screen right now. There will also be some links in the video description to the individual missions or to a pack of all missions in one, just in case someone wants to download all of this at once. As I say at the end of every episode of this thing, the missions are here for you. Feel free to use them for whatever you need, edit them, add new things, remove whatever you don't need. It would be nice if you could give me a little thank you in the credits of your final project, but it isn't strictly required. As long as you are interested in learning new things and don't charge money for this, we are totally fine and you are free to do whatever you need. Let me also remind you that the main goal of all these Let's Make videos is to show you how the individual tutorials come together in a mission creating process. This is true especially for the more script heavy missions, where some commands only show their true potential when used in a combination with a few others, but even the simple missions do have some bits of good information here and there, like how to set up triggers so that scripts get called whenever you need, how to make waypoints the way you need and more. If you have questions regarding these missions, technical or just general questions, feel free to ask away. Just please remember that it's been more than a year since I've made most of these. I think that 7 missions were made before Eden update, so I may not remember exactly how I did something or what was my original intention with this or that. But feel free to ask me anyway what's the worst that can happen, I'll just have to look things up. Anyway, this concludes season 1 of Let's Make Videos. I don't know if I'll be doing more of these videos, maybe, but I feel like I could try and change the format of the videos a bit, or maybe switch from missions to something else. We'll see. I'm open to discussions if you would like to suggest something or talk about these videos, so don't be afraid to comment anything you'd like me to know. Well, anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks to all of you for your support, and see you next time.